Hi, I'm Giselle Samson and you're watching me on Madtalks by AdStreet.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम, दिस इज साद हाशमी। वेलकम टू मैडटॉक्स ब्रांड न्यू एपिसोड। हमने बहुत सारे गेस्ट बुलाए जो कि डायरेक्टर्स फ्रेटर्निटी से थे, एडवर्टाइजिंग फ्रेटर्निटी से थे, ब्रांड्स के थे। इन सारी चीज़ों में वन थिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, व्हाट आर द रूल्स, व्हाट आर द रेगुलेशंस। हमारी एडवर्टाइजिंग, हमारा जो वर्क एथिक्स है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल बिहेवियर, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, देयर आर सम डिफाइंड रूल्स, और उन रूल्स को लेके हुए, एक सिस्टम को लेते हुए हम लोग चलते हैं। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारी इंडस्ट्री में ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो फॉलो नहीं की जाती, जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। दैट डिफरेंशिएट योर कंपनी, योर पर्सनैलिटी फ्रॉम द अदर पीपल, और प्रोफेशनल जिसको कहते हैं जीत भी इसी चीज के अंदर होती है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे मार्केट में बड़े कम लोग जो कि इस चीज को सही से समझते हैं। जब हमने सर्च शुरू की, सो वी हार्डली फाउंड वेरी फ्यू पीपल। आउट ऑफ देम we have a person who's known for her corporate ethics, organizational behavior, और ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें जो उन्होंने पास्ट में की हैं which makes her stand out. She belongs to an organization which is known for the ethics. She belongs to an organization जिन्होंने एक लंबा अर्सा दिया उधर for corporate ethics. Welcome to Madtalks, Giselle Samson. How are you?
Samson.
Okay. Welcome to Madtalks, Giselle Samson. कैसी हैं आप?
I'm good, thank you, Saad. Thank you so much for having me over.
Oh,
yes. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah. So, the topic which we are discussing is something which is greatly ignored by the industry, and you've been called here just because for a great reason, because this is something we need to give awareness to the people जो कि मार्केट में मौजूद हैं और उनके पास नहीं है। बड़ी बड़ी ब्रांड्स में, बड़े बड़े एजेंसीज के अंदर लोग मौजूद हैं, बट कॉर्पोरेट एथिक्स को एकदम से इग्नोर कर दिया जाता है। एंड आप तो इसका फ्लैग कैरियर रही हैं अपनी पूरी इंडस्ट्री में और इतने टाइम तक। तो वी वुड लाइक टू आस्क, आई स्टार्ट ऑफ, आई वांट टू हियर द ऑडियंस अबाउट योरसेल्फ। हु आर यू एंड लाइक हाउ यू हैव वर्कड इन द इंडस्ट्री?
Alright. So, as you said, I'm Giselle, and I've been with Procter & Gamble for the last almost 3 decades.
Okay.
I recently retired from P&G, but I worked there since 96. A joke that I normally do with the youngsters there is that I probably joined when you all were not born.
Oh.
I've been in purchasing for majority of the time. It's a very important department because that's where the true spirit of ethics and integrity comes in.
Yeah.
I've been within different spends of purchasing itself. So I've worked in media, non-media, logistics, so around in this area. So I have had a chance to interact with many people, both internally as well as externally.
Okay.
I'm married. I have 2 grown kids, a boy and a girl, and yeah, that's about me.
Oh, that's great. So, considering your expertise in the field,
Yeah.
where do you see the most significant ethical challenges arising specifically within the advertising industry? Because we belong to an advertising industry.
Okay. So when I speak, I will speak on a broader base,
Yeah.
because my knowledge of it is on a broader level and not specified to one specific field within the industry, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's something.
All right. So the company that I come from, we're very firm on our beliefs and corporate ethics. So this is something that we've always valued: our purposes, our values, our principles, and the most important base or foundation of that is its people, right? If your people are solid on their purposes, values, and principles, automatically you have a good flow in your corporate ethics. However, in the time that I've worked, I've come across different experiences which I can share with you,
Yeah.
which I would say could be out there in the industry.
Yeah.
So one of them was discrimination. In my earlier years, and I'll give you an example, that I had gone on a survey It was a transportation survey that I was doing, and because I was a female, I was not allowed to enter into a certain company's premises. And that was rather disturbing to me that I've come for official work and they weren't allowing me in because of my gender. But I didn't let that stop me.
So that really happened?
Yes, that really happened. Not an example, this is a true story.
Okay.
This happened with me when I was going on a survey for employee transports. And we were doing a survey connecting with different companies and asking them how they manage their employee transportation. And when I did approach them, they wouldn't let me enter the premises. One, because it was a male-dominated premises, and they said they don't allow females. And so I found that to be quite discriminating. That didn't stop me from doing my work. I said, okay, fine, call the guy outside, the person who I needed to meet.
The right person, yeah.
Yes, and I sat down at the guard outside the post, and I did what I had to do. But I feel that maybe by now this is improving, because this is some years back in my earlier years that this had happened.
But you feel that these things exist in the...
They would possibly still be there, and this is something that people should be wary of. And this is discrimination comes in different forms. This was one which I experienced. Then another thing that I would say is important is conflict of interest. So as a purchaser, or even someone who's in a post where they are taking lead decisions, conflict of interest is very important. As a buyer, if I have, for example, my husband was working in a company which we were working with, and he was a buyer that side. I declared it so that even if we had to interact with them, then I wouldn't be sitting in meetings which he would be sitting in, because it's a conflict, right? So this is something which is, I feel, important, where you shouldn't take advantage of the fact that ठीक है, आप जानते हो उस बंदे को, ये आपका रिश्तेदार है, मगर बाकी लोगों को तो नहीं पता ना कि ये आपके रिश्तेदार है, तो उनको बिजनेस दे दे.
हाँ, तो ये तो यानी कि दिस इज समथिंग बड़ा रेयरली है, रेयरली आई थिंक बड़े कॉमनली पाकिस्तान के अंदर एथिक्स है, अपने कजन को दे दो, अपने भाई को
I guess so. Yeah, I think this could be happening. So it's something very important that people should be wary of and should address if it exists, right?
And you think कि ये चीज बड़ी important है, ये चीज होनी चाहिए अपना, because ये कंपनी डिफाइन करती है, ये इंसान का मॉरल या अपनी वो डिफाइन करता है.
It is of course a company defined thing, but at the same time an individual should have their own morals. Yeah. So it's important that they do that.
They do that. Yes. And if something is happening, they should talk to the company. Yeah, this is
absolutely.
So someone is contacting, this is my cousin, or this is my husband, or this is my
Yes, depending on the scenario, right? अगर आप कोई business award कर रहे हो, it's very important that you do call that out, because then at the end of the day you need to do justice to the company also, right?
Okay, so you must be like you must have like gone to various trainings, I think, from the company which you have worked for. It's one of the top organizational cultures around the world, not in Pakistan but around the world. So what is the difference you have seen internationally and locally, considering this topic?
I think I'll speak for my own self and my own company. We take it very seriously. Okay. It has always been pivotal that we report things like this, and it is for our own benefit at the end of the day. So as our own organization, although I'm no longer working there, but this is something which is very important for us.
So like just I think that is a question out of my, what I have shared with you, but you must be familiar with the advertising vendors and the production houses and all those things. You must have contacted, because I know, because that's a process, because you know that होता ही है कि award जो है वो किसी एक preferable होता है. If a brand team is awarding a project to a preferable vendor, so what sort of criteria you had when you were coming?
Well, these are things which are guidelines which are shared on a global level. So obviously I will not be speaking of those guidelines itself, but there's a certain protocol that we have to follow.
So okay, I have a question that how can leader effectively cultivate a true ethical culture within their organization beyond just have a code of conduct?
Very good question, Saad. And in one sentence, walk the talk, or bluntly put, practice what you preach, right?
Oh, yes.
So I was first thinking of a sweeter way to say it, but that's the truth.
Understood.
You practice what you preach and walk the talk, so that when your subordinates or your employees see you walking the talk, they too will walk the talk.
So you do as you want.
No, not do as you want, but I mean, if you are saying something in terms of, the code of conduct that you
Yeah.
put, or the ethics that you want,
Yeah.
आप भी खुद प्रैक्टिस करें,
खुद भी
तो
होता है ना, तो
जब आप करेंगे तो
जब
बाकी
करेंगे
देखेंगे.
तो सब देखेंगे.
वही है ना, जैसे घर में बच्चे हैं तो बच्चे will follow what the parents do.
What the parents do.
So something similar like that. Other than that, what I think is also important is, okay, you have a code of conduct. How many times do you actually refresh your employees, remind your employees?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times people are exiting, new people are coming. It's a lot right now, right? That's happening. So it's always good, I think, to have refreshers, so that at the end of the day, जब हम लोग काम पे आ जाते, there's so many things happening कि कभी-कभी भूल भी जाते हैं. We are human beings at the end of the day.
And this is very common.
Absolutely. So having a refresher or a reminder, I think, would obviously help. And of course, if you're walking the talk, that's nothing better than that. And then if you want to really, really, change things, then of course there are things like self audits, or have internal auditors coming. These are things that people can do, companies can do. And also have safe channels for employees to even speak their mind without getting worried about being reprimanded.
Okay. So these are the things which you follow. So what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about corporate ethics?
Saad, on that, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think it's limited knowledge. It's भाई हमने जो laws हैं of the land उसको follow करना है, and maybe जो आपके CSR activities है वो cover करनी है, ठीक है? For me, I think this is what generally one would think would fall under this. And we may just forget the things which I said in the earlier question, that they are also part of this. And again, like I said, my disclaimer, I could be wrong, but I feel that these are the things that people have a limited thought process on this, but it's wider. And if we move towards training and regularly refreshing, because things keep changing, right? So I think that would help.
So okay, now this takes me to another question.
Yeah.
So which is all the organization work for one thing: the profits, the sales, the targets, and tamam cheezein. So does the pressure to meet sales or the targets to achieve fast, sometimes lead to ethical compromises in the industry overall?
Very tricky question. So मेरे ख्याल से तो होता है, क्योंकि आप भी शायद बैंक से कभी कॉल मिला है आपको कि आज पैसे नहीं निकालो, 30 तारीख है, उसको पैसे अकाउंट में रहने तो कल निकाल दे, वो हमारा नंबर्स आउट हो जाएंगे.
हाँ बिल्कुल,
वो है ना, तो ये इसी में गिरता है. Even I received that kind of a call. So while I do understand, but that is part of this, right? I mean, you're asking.
बिलिंग रोक दें, थोड़े दिनों कर दें.
या आप ये सोचे कि परचेस ऑर्डर आप कर ले काम, पीओ बाद में मिलेगा. ये भी होता है. तो these are things that if companies really want to move towards the true essence of corporate ethics, they build in discipline. Automatically, aista. Obviously, we are living in a country where the corruption index is the highest. So we would obviously need to improve ourselves first, and then
because the corruption, because that's something very important. कि हम जिस जगह पे काम करें, corruption index very high. Again, like I would say कि फिर competitiveness हो जाती है इंडस्ट्री के अंदर. मैं फिर उसी क्वेश्चन को दोबारा थोड़ा सा वो करूँगा. Just to I'm just trying to dig out the things that will help people around to understand. profit and the ethical responsibility, does internally your organization or any organization, do you think they should have an index? Because naturally if you're working, there are some natural factors behind, there are some political factors behind, you know, और कभी हम लकी बिल्कुल पत्थर पे वो कहते हैं ना चीज नहीं यार, दिस इज हमारे लॉ कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में आता है और अभी हम नहीं कर सकते ये चीज, और वो ओवरऑल दोनों कंपनियों के लिए नुकसानदेह है। तो वैसी सिचुएशन आप कैसे हैंडल करती हैं ट्रिकी?
Well, in my company or my ex-company, we always believed in doing the right thing.
Okay.
So no matter what the consequences, doing the right thing was the most important thing. Okay. But to answer your question in terms of what can companies do, the first thing I would think is transparent communication, right? To your, not only to your top management, but to your employees also. Because by sharing with your organization that, you know, this is where they need help, this is where things are going down. The senior manager would be an expert on what he's doing, but the person down below would be an expert on what he or she is doing, right? So obviously if you're going to be sharing the information with your employees and asking them to leave no stone unturned, look for ways that we can work things out in a better way, but in the right manner. Right? So that's one thing that I feel is important. The second thing that I feel is important is having a continuation plan, a BCP plan, right? Alternate solutions. For example, abhi jo halat chal rahe, so a lot of things have changed. It's always important then to have alternate solutions. Case in point is, and you can obviously cut this out if you think it's not relevant. अभी जो हालात चल रहे हैं हमारे, तो रॉ मटेरियल्स जो हम लोग फार्मास्यूटिकल्स करते वहां से from India, but now because of that we cannot, right? And this is only for pharma section, not anywhere else, because it's not allowed. But that too has stopped. So we are in such a position now that you will not be able to get your raw materials. That becomes tricky, right?
So to run a business,
companies could maybe try to find loopholes, or you could do the right thing, or you could do the right thing in trying to find an alternate solution. The other thing is, if you have a BCP plan already, which is business continuity plan, maybe that would safeguard you from this. And then the last thing I think which is important is learn from your historical mistakes. Data तो है ना आपके पास, तो पुराने चीजें से सीखे. Make sure they don't reoccur.
हर वक्त crisis, यानी you are saying every time is not a crisis management time. You should have a system in place for all these things.
So these are some of the facts or points that I think are
very
important.
rightly covered. Thank you for that. Okay. It doesn't only, you know, on the AI area, even the content with the companies which are making. Do you think that, sir, you know, they should follow a code, conduct, and certain sort of, you know, responsibilities they should have in making their own ads as well? I'm not talking about the AI. आप कभी बार देखती होंगी कुछ एड्स भी ऐसे बन जाते हैं जो कि थोड़े सेंसिटिव होते हैं, कुछ चीजें होती हैं. डू यू थिंक ये चीजें फॉलो होती हैं आपकी कंपनी में, होती रही है फॉलोज?
Absolutely, and I will not compare my company. It is definitely on top of line for all of these things, in terms of making sure that they follow the rules and regulations. Speaking for the greater audience, I'm guessing it does exist, and if it does, then they would need to make sure that they work with their employees to better safeguard themselves.
Okay, you being a part of system, and like you being a part of something like you made yourself. I know you had a responsibility of now what to do from 1996 to 2024. A lot of things have changed.
Oh, yes.
The whole computer, you must have like, I'm sure कि आपने शायद टाइपराइटर वगैरह बहुत ज़माने से आपने वो चीज़ें देखी होंगी. But I believe कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें चेंज हुई थी. So effectively अपने आप को adopt कराना culture में. अब you know you have left the organization when the AI was in the emerge. So ये सब चीज़ों के बीच में कितनी दफ़ा systems I'm sure के change हुए होंगे. तो I believe how organization effectively train their marketing and advertising teams on ethical decision making process. What do you think?
So at least if I speak for our own organizations, my organization, X organization, we would definitely have trainings on everything, right? So there are two things you asked me. One is systems. And then the other thing is your ethics, your corporate ethics, right? So from a systems point of view, that would be subject to what the individual is doing. For example, in my case, if I was in purchasing, so I would be trained more on the apps related towards purchasing, right? Which were our own internal, what we would use. Similarly, the marketing people would have their own trainings which are related to brand. And then there would be the umbrella, which is your corporate ethics, which would cover everything under the sun in terms of the points that we spoke about earlier.
So, ये तो आप जो बता रहे हैं ये तो बड़ा लकी, बड़ा फॉर्चुनेट एनवायरनमेंट है। ये तो इतना फॉर्चुनेट है कि जिसमें लोग भी ट्रेन हो जाते होंगे 2-3 साल में भी ऐसे ही करना है। यू थिंक पीएनजी के जो लोग होंगे उनको प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती होगी अगर वो किसी और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मूव करते होंगे? बिकॉज आई हैव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल बिकॉज दे वर टू द पॉइंट सिस्टम रिलेटेड एंड व्हेन दे मूव टू द इंडस्ट्री, because hardly I have seen very few organizations like this who follow corporate ethics, these responsibilities, big organization. Because पाकिस्तान में तो सेठिया कल्चर कितना स्ट्रांग है आपको पता है, बड़ी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और बड़े बड़े नाम है और सब कुछ है, बड़े बड़े बोर्ड्स पे लिखे हुए होंगे सब चीजें, मगर फॉलो वही एक इंसान कुछ बोलेगा और वो फॉलो होगी चीज। तो डू यू थिंक के ये जो कल्चर है, ये जो the सेठिया ऑर्गेनाइजेशन which exist in पाकिस्तान, इनको अडॉप्ट करने की जरूरत है? क्या चीज ये लोग करें कि ये लोग इस सिस्टम के करीब आ जाए कॉर्पोरेट एथिक्स? What they should do?
Well, I think some of the points which I shared earlier in terms of on discrimination, in terms of conflict of interest, in terms of labor, I think these are things which they would maybe need to look at. Again, I don't know whether that industry is improving, but I'm sure 20 साल पहले जो था और अब है, it's definitely improved quite a lot. And you can see that. So I would not give credit. You have to give credit where it's due. So you can see that women are getting the empowerment slowly but surely. Look at the girls coming on bikes now. Yeah. So,
it's very.
So things are improving. शायद थोड़ा slow चल रहे, but हो रहा है. So there is a move happening. It may be slow, but it's there.
Because I think वो जो change आ रहा है empowerment से, that's very refreshing. And for a country like Pakistan, it's very good. People are accepting this change that women are riding on the bikes. And because उनके लिए कितनी मुश्किल है, because आप 2 मिनट सोचें, the problem you be in the industry और आप तो उस टाइम से रही होंगी जो आपने बताया, the incident you shared. So I'm sure there must be a lot of incidents. अब तो बहुत सारी चीजें आहिस्ता कम होने लगी हैं ये. So what role do you think clients and agencies are playing in keeping ethical standards and professionalism in the advertising industry?
आपने तो सब ट्रिक क्वेश्चंस ही रखे मेरे लिए. But it's a good question.
I was been waiting for this. Someone would answer
these things. It's a really good question. So speaking for agencies, it's a very small world. Agencies. That means shifting from one agency to another agency is very common. आज आप एक एजेंसी के साथ हो, कल आप दूसरी एजेंसी के साथ हो, एंड तीसरा दिन या अगले महीने आप तीसरी एजेंसी के साथ हो. There are very few big players and everybody knows that, right?
अच्छा, ये पॉइंट है, आप लोग देखते होंगे कि यार ये तो बंदा आज किसके साथ है.
No, you asked me what should clients and agencies do, so I was coming to that. Because the shift of people changing, and obviously people change for their own betterment, right? I think integrity is very important. And when I say integrity, I mean, okay, आपने shift की. You may have been working in an agency where you came to know information of that agency, of their clients, and you've shifted to an agency who's working for the competition of the other agency. So it's your moral, ethical value that you should, वो चीज वहीं छोड़ दे, यहाँ साथ में नहीं लाए. and open your mouth and speak up on all of those things. I think integrity plays an important role, especially because if you're going to, jump from one place to another, and I'm sure people do it, but it's something that I wanted to call out, that I would see that as a watch out, that at least make sure you hold on to your integrity. Right?
Because जो आदमी आके इधर बोल रहा है वो कहीं पे भी जाएगा,
वो बाद में पकड़ जाएंगे ना, it will come up eventually तो आएगा, we'll come to know अच्छा ये तो बोलता है चीजें, so nobody would really share, or you could spoil your own reputation down the line. But from that point of view, I felt it's that, and both clients and agencies together, I think they should adhere to their guidelines, vice versa. So if the client has certain guidelines, the agency should follow it to the T. And if the agency has certain guidelines, the client should follow.
ये भी बड़ा जरूरी है, ये जो
very important.
आपकी बात की, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है सर्विस प्रोवाइडर सर्विस देने के अंदर ऐसे हो जाते हैं कि वो I think there are two spaces. Both should respect each other and follow these things, because
Absolutely.
that's how a good environment can be created.
Absolutely. थोड़ा मुश्किल है क्योंकि हाँ मुश्किल है
क्योंकि एकदम से लगता है क्लाइंट को नहीं यार मैं तो, because ऐसा होता है कि क्लाइंट्स को कभी कभार लगता है हम तो पैसे दे रहे हैं, हम जो चाहें इनको कराएं, which is wrong. और कभी कभार एजेंसीज जो हैं एक्सप्लॉइट करती हैं, बिकॉज वो ज्यादा चार्ज कर देंगी उनको किसी चीज के ऊपर, मतलब सब, एंड और आई थिंक ये वो जो श्रिल हुई है थोड़ा सा जो एनवायरनमेंट में जो मसले आए हैं वो आई भी इस वजह से है कि दोनों ने एक दूसरे के ट्रस्ट को ब्रीच किया, दैट्स समथिंग. और डू यू थिंक कि वो कहते हैं ना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है एज एन इंसान चैप्टर को क्लोज करके दोबारा बैठना एक साथ, बट आई थिंक दैट शुड हैपन. व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
I think it's very important if you have to work together. पहले ही इंडस्ट्री छोटा है तो करना है, and you spend majority of your hours in your workspace. So obviously you need to be in good ties and relationship with everybody. You don't take it personally.
And I think इन सारी चीजों में एक चीज निकल कर आती है which you are saying. One, just you're talking about professionalism.
Yeah.
ये सारी चीज जो है कि you learn to be professional. I think we should learn to be professional because there are organizations जिनको बुलाया जाता है खास तौर पे ऐसे लोगों को, यार इधर से आओ, तो he will come up with lot of information of client, he will come up with lot of information of their own organization, the competition. So जब वो भी आता है तो वो भी तैयार होता है सूट वूट पहन के, हाँ सर हम तो उधर ऐसे करते थे तो फिर ऐसा होता था तो वैसा होता था. I think the market is very used to it overall.
It is. I've had experiences where when we're meeting a new supplier and they would, talk of the work that they've done. So I would always make sure to stop them, especially if they were talking about any kind of competition, to first understand whether it's something that has already been done. Because if it's already been done, then it's public knowledge, right? I'm talking from an event or an activation point of view. But if it's something which is not done and they're planning, I don't want to know about it. So don't talk to me about it. So I think that is, yes, absolutely right. It's all about your professionalism and integrity.
Professionalism. So both the sides, I think.
Absolutely.
दोनों ने अपने, किसने अपने कान कब बंद करने वो भी बड़े important है, and जिसने बोलना बंद करने, that's also very important. So you think too, again I would say that you've been part of an organization which follows these things, and बहुत लोगों को awareness ही नहीं है. अगर for someone who has just entered into a career, उसको पता ही नहीं corporate ethics होते क्या है, और उसके साथ इसको exploit किया जा रहा है, एक organization भी exploit कर रही है और वो भी कभी organization को exploit कर रहा है, because and I have seen बड़ी organizations भी इस तरीके की. So government level पे कुछ ऐसी चीजें यू थिंक के इंश्योरिटी होनी चाहिए, लोग क्या पूछिए, गवर्नमेंट पूछती है आके, या कोई कंपनी इससे कि भाई आप अपने ये सब चीजों को इंश्योर कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं? यू थिंक जितना पूछती है उतना पूछना चाहिए, उससे ज्यादा पूछना चाहिए? जस्ट वांटेड टू hear your point of view.
Well, I don't know about the government part, but if you have audits, automatically that comes into place, because the audit then is not just on this, right? You can have, there are different types of audits, right? एक तो financial audit होता है, there can be an audit even on this, कि आप लोग करते हो, or you can have a back check agency doing it for you.
Yeah. To check it. So thank you very much for being a part of the show today, and certainly you have discussed a lot of things जो मेरा ख्याल है लोगों रुक जाते हैं डिस्कस करने से, और हमने भी कोशिश की कि हम आपको लाएं. हम आपसे और भी बहुत सारी बातें करेंगे आफ्टर द शो. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me over. I really liked it.
Thank you.